Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Get Smarter Navigating the updated SMSF Essentials course. My name is Norman. I'm part of the product education team here at BGL, and I'm also joined by Aaron Dunn. Aaron is the CEO and co-founder of Smarter SMSF, and he regularly presents at conferences, webinars, and events, and is regarded as one of Australia's leading SMSF specialists. Now, many of you, I'm sure, are very aware of who Aaron is through his work, and we're excited to have him here with us today as he's got some exciting news to share in around the SMSF education space. And now, before I send it over to Aaron, I'll just do a bit of housekeeping. So at the moment, everybody else is on mute mode. However, if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A panel in the Zoom application. Also, the recording and the materials for the session are going to be sent out after the session as soon as we can. So have a look out for that in your email inboxes over the next couple of days. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Aaron.
Excellent. Thank you, Norman. And yeah, great to be here and to share some insights into our SMSF Essentials course. We have had great support through BGL and the BGL Learning Channel with people being able to access and educate not only themselves, but team members with both our Essentials course historically and our Foundations course. And today, what we're going to do is to provide you with an update as to what we have been working on over the last probably 6 or so months with our Essentials course, and really where this fits within what we call our Starter, Smarter, Smartest education model, which is all about the way in which we deliver training more broadly to the SMSF profession. One of the things that we have done for a long time is build scalable education solutions in this space. So we'll talk a little bit about why we've done what we've done here and the case for structured learning. And Norman is certainly an advocate for that as well, noting that a lot of the work that he's done within the BGL Learning Channel, whether you're a Simple Fund 360 user or CAS 360 or Simple Invest, and even shortly, he said before, he's got the fun and games of all the education for the new Verified product as well. So we'll talk a little bit through that and then go through really what's changed and the approach that we've taken to the revised SMSF Essentials course, because there is a stepped change that we've now introduced off the back of the revision of this. Not only factors in the changes we've done recently with things like Division 296 tax and updates to thresholds and the like, but we've given complete refreshes on some of the modules to separate it from our SMSF Foundations course as a genuine sort of starter into this, what we coin as being essential for what you need to do with your self-managed super fund clients. And then we'll talk a little bit about the specialization pathway. This does provide a pathway for those that are interested towards SMSF specialization, and the fact that upon successful completion of the course, we have our relationship as an accredited educator with the SMSF Association to be able to access a complimentary period of associate membership. So it is going to be a combination of both Norman and myself. You're not going to sort of hear me talking to slides all day. We will spend a bit of time going in and showing you what that course looks like now. If you've done any of our course content before, you will notice some changes that we've done to it, and I'll explain a lot of that and the interactions that we've done along the way. Now, what we have at Smarter SMSF from this e-learning perspective is in essence 2 core courses, our SMSF Foundations and our SMSF Essentials, which is the core part of today's discussion. We have had for some time the SMSF Advanced course incoming soon, but I can tell you that we will have our first lot of modules coming in July of 2026. They are going to be around LRBAs and also Division 296 tax. So if you are even looking for more advanced, or what we call our smartest level of education, that material we have been working on following the SMSF Essentials course. But you can see there how we target this education, both in terms of CPD hours that we award for completion, but also importantly, who we naturally target or who this is most appropriate for. So our foundations course is all about giving access to your graduate staff, your admin staff, if you have offshore teams, those that sort of are within that 0 to 3 years of experience. So really building foundational knowledge for them to be able to understand key concepts as they relate to superannuation and self-managed funds and income tax concepts and stuff that all sort of tie into that net. And from there, we then see that step up into the essentials course. Now, this has advanced from what was previously 18 hours into now 25 hours across the 7 modules. And this isn't increasing hours for the sake of increasing hours. This is a byproduct of some restructuring that we've done within the content, the fact that we've needed to advance content as well. So tax is the perfect example with Division 296. But this is designed for those with a more intermediate level of knowledge, those around SMSF, so senior accountants and paraplanners and advisors that might not be in it day to day, even public practitioners that might not be in that day to day. So anywhere, 2 to 6 years is that sort of common field, but it's not to say that it's entirely limited to that cohort. And then, of course, where that advanced one sits, and no doubt once we sort of bring that to life a little bit more, we'll talk about that a bit more shortly. I've just got a couple of screens here I just want to share, but Norma will go into this as we get into today's session. But these courses, while we have them on our own platform, what we've done with BGL is to make these readily available internally within the BGL Learning Channel. Why is that the case? Well, one thing is that the team at BGL actually use this as part of their own education and knowledge within, say, the support team and others to be able to work through and improve their understanding. And Norman, I don't know whether you want to make a comment here, just in terms of some of that education approach that might happen internally.
Yeah. I would say I could talk about the impact it's had on our onboarding process, especially with our SMSF related teams, like the
Yep.
support team, for example. I know when I first started at BGL, the onboarding process for new staff would go 1, maybe even 2 months, depending on the support consultant and what they already knew beforehand. And a lot of that was because we had to spend time, going through with them, go through sessions, have that one-on-one support. And I would say now the onboarding time frame, you're looking at it a couple of weeks now, before they can start doing some meaningful and contribute to the actual teams itself. And what's really helped is having online courses such as these courses that we do have here. Now, not only does it help the team members get up to speed a lot quicker, but it's reduced, I would say, the time from team leaders, managers, and also onboarding teams, like the product education team that I'm a part of, from having to set up and run those sessions. But also, I would say one of the things that it does solve for us is it standardizes the education, SMSF education component of our onboarding process. So instead of having to rely on different trainings or particular staff that we have, we've got a consistent pathway now to teach that to somebody that's starting off at BGL. And it's also from a trusted source. So we trust, Aaron, Tim, and also Smarter SMSF. So we know the content is good. And I would say even from the assessments, having the appropriate assessments allows us to also gauge whether not only they're doing the course, but also they're actually able to understand it at a certain level.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you recorded all that because I'll take that as a testimonial too. So thank you very much. I digress. So, but really what Norman was saying there sits into the narrative of the challenge that we see when people get onboarded. So we know that staff within the business can spend enormous amounts of time having to mentor, train on board to specific requirements, and you end up with an inconsistency in that approach because of the informal nature. And so if you're trying to transpose that across a team, every person gets a very different version of it. Now, because the superannuation laws are constantly evolving, the ability to find the time and then keep people in tune with what's going on becomes really challenging. And therefore, the way in which we've tried to do this is to build an approach that allows for a consistency so that people can log in and work through it, most importantly at their own pace, because some people might have a much stronger understanding of contributions, but not necessarily within pensions or tax. And we see this with financial advisors, that they spend far more time looking at the tax modules because they're not inherently tax focused or have that tax background like an accountant may have, where they might struggle more in a more broader estate planning perspective or whatever the case may be. So we do this in a way that allows for people to kind of work through at the time frame it takes them. Sure, we have some guidance about how long it can take, but it's not about the time per se. It's about understanding and taking that knowledge, utilizing the validation through the modules, but then also the assessment thereafter to ensure that you actually understand and comprehend what's there. And from that point of view, it de-risks you in terms of the work you're providing, and it de-risks the staff who naturally operate within this environment as well. And we move from staff members being trainers and educators and stuff themselves at an opportunity cost of what they could be charging, into really being mentors. And we hear different ways in which people use this, cohorts of team members, 4 and 5, working through it at one time. And, they get to the end of the module by a particular point in time and they all have a discussion the week after to try and embed that. We've got some people that just do it themselves. Ultimately that decision is for you, but that consistency in approach from my standpoint is the bit that the feedback we get the most about the benefits, and Norman has really articulated that as well. So our essential course is, as I've said, made up of 7 modules, 25 CPD hours. In essence, we provide for up to 4 months to be able to work through that. It is a blend of written materials, videos, interactions, and the like. And so we'll show you how all that works. As an accredited educator, we do actually provide CPD hours for the SMSF Association, but it also provides CPD for tax practitioners, for any of the joint accounting bodies, and for audit hours and the like as well. The pricing is at $800 per module, per course, in essence, per person. We do have some bulk pricing discounts that would be available. And we also have flexibility to be able to do sort of enterprise as well. All this content has been updated through to, in essence, the end of April. So the currency is really important. The redesign of this course is such so that we can actually keep things up to date even quicker than what we've done historically. But it is all about the interaction that you do when you work through to complete these modules. And as I said before, as an accredited educator with the SMSF Association, anyone who successfully completes this Essentials course, it also applies with our Foundations course, but you are eligible to get a complimentary period of membership with the SMSF Association. So with this Essentials course, you become an associate member of the SMSF Association, valued at $680. With our Foundations course, it's an affiliate member, and that membership value is sort of about $360 off the top of my head. So that complimentary period is, in essence, not a year. The anniversary or the subscription or membership period goes from 1 April to 31 March each year. So if someone finished the course, let's say over the next month or something, if they got that complimentary membership from 1 July, they would in essence get 9 months of complimentary membership to the SMSF Association. So it's a really important pathway that we see to not only lift standards in the industry, but also to move people to potentially become specialists in their own right. So we've built this for a very diverse cohort of students. Now, at our core, we know that accountants and administrators do a lot of work in this space and are really the primary service providers in here. So being a practitioner myself, obviously, as a CPA and an SMSF specialist, a lot of this is practitioner focused. But we also have a large cohort of financial advisors that we work with. We have licensees that in essence require their advisors to do either our course or a Kaplan course, for example, to ensure that they've got strength in knowledge around their SMSFs that would then give them the ability to become an authorized representative. We also see other SMSF professionals, whether it's auditors, whether it's lawyers, again, really diverse group of practitioners who need to lift their knowledge in certain categories or across it more broadly to meet their ongoing CPD. And even experienced practitioners who just need to sharpen their pencil on knowledge in a particular area. Again, we see that sort of cohort come through as well. Now, in terms of what we've done, here's I guess a breakdown of where we've done the most work in terms of overhauling this 2026 material. So module 1 is a complete rewrite, and this is really to make a stepped change between what we had in our foundations course up to our essentials course. And this is now all about covering the SMSF definition, not only in its simplest form, but also into the exemptions and other, I guess, ways in which that can occur when a member maybe loses capacity and death and so forth. We also move into the licensing framework. So what can you say, what can't you say, whether you are licensed and not licensed and so forth. We also touch on suitability of SMSFs and some of the ethical obligations around that. So that is a fairly substantial shift from where we had that previously. I've already touched on Division 296 in Module 5. We have a section within there that deliberately looks at this area. Again, it looks at it to the extent in which we want to cover that topic off. We're not, it's not extensive in that regard. So, for example, there's a question that's just come, are we able to choose particular sections within the module, just Div 296? A Div 296 module is going to become available within the advanced course. Now, that advanced course, by the way, will be available by module as opposed to just an entire course. So if you are looking for particular pieces, you'll be able to sort of pull that out in that regard. Otherwise, you'd need to kind of look at some other training to be able to support you. But all the modules have a consistent structure, which you'll see. Each module has its own assessment that is about validating your learning. So in essence, you'll have 7 assessments within the 7 modules. And then across the completion of each of those, you then get access to be able to obtain that CPD certificate, which generates as well. We have a full change log across what has been updated. So if you ever wanted to see what those updates are, you would be able to manage that process as you go through. You can see in here the breakdown in terms of what each of those modules cover and the subject matter broadly that covers in each of those particular modules and the allocation of hours that make up the total 25 CPD hours over that period as well. So what we're going to do from here is now look to move into the process of accessing the course. I might just quickly sort of shoot through these slides and then hand back to Norman, because what we want to do is show you the journey of what this looks like, how you would be able to access that material once you purchase, and then move into the learning channel, and then, of course, getting started in that process as well. So, Norman, I'm going to hand over to you at this point and let you look to share your screen and go into what this journey actually looks like.
Sure, no problem. So I've got the program here. If everybody here wasn't aware, we have a dedicated learning channel attached to all our products. So regardless of whether you're in Simple Fund 360 or CAS 360 or Simple Invest 360, you'll have access to the learning channel. Where you'll find it is in your app switcher on the top right-hand corner of the products, and you'll have a option for learning channel, and that'll take you to our learning channel screen. So essentially, it's a hub full of online training courses, including the SMSF Foundations and Essentials course. For those courses you'll have to purchase, I can either go to that link that we'll provide and was in one of the slides, but also you can click on the banner at the top to do that purchase. Now, whenever you do that purchase for one of those online courses, they will be automatically assigned to that user under your learning library. So you'll be able to see it under My Learning and Learning Library. And you'll be able to see those courses there. Now, what I'll note as well is with BGL, we do supply online courses as well in terms of how to use the products. So regardless if you're using CAS, Simple Fund, Simple Invest, you'll have training courses on those different platforms in there free to use. But for that extra learning, again, you've got the Smarter SMSF courses you'll be able to find there. Again, as long as you've signed up for them, you'll be able to find them under your library. Once you click on the course, you'll be able to navigate through the different modules as well. So you can click on a module and head into whichever section that you need to go to. You can exit out, come back in and navigate through and go through the lessons as well. Something else I'll note, and it's a question that we often get is, am I able to manage and track the other how people are running through the courses and whether they're completing them as part of my firm? And the answer is yes. If you ever need to set up, let's say, a team leader type person, user access to the learning channel where you can actually gauge how your staff are running through the courses and whether they're actually completing them, you can do so. All you have to do is simply log a support call with us and we'll be able to set up an account for you. So you'll just nominate whichever account that you want to be the team leader in the learning channel, and we'll be able to set that up for you as well. I'll also ensure that we'll include the article with all that information in the follow-up emails as well.
Yeah. Well, so I'm Michael. Norman, I might just get you just to show, because a couple of things we do at the beginning of each of the modules is you'll see at the top left there, there's a module resources page. No, go back to where you were. Yep. So just on the navigation on the left-hand side, there is under here, in essence, an ability to work through each of these pages. So if you go through to the next page there, we've got our learning module, and then the next page is our resources. So within every module, you will see a workbook that comes with each module. So in addition to the information and material that is on here, there is an ability for you to be able to download the module workbook. You can see the changelog of information. You can also see reference materials that we got in there. If you really want to sink your teeth into the topic in a fairly substantial way with tax rulings and in this instance, in module 1, info sheets and the like. So the modules are built in a way whereby you will see a combination of written material. You will also see video content as well. And that video content will include discussions that both Tim and myself might be having. So I might get you to click continue there. If you can, Norman, that'd be great. And one more. Oh, yeah, scroll down. We could get one more. Sorry, I'm just going to get to the right spot. Yeah, so what you can then see here is when we get into these topics, you'll see this sort of interaction between Tim and myself quite regularly on things. So just giving you some additional context into the topics, in this instance, why the SMSF definition is important. But you'll also see as well, in addition to these videos, Tim and I run a weekly Feeling Smarter video that we do on our YouTube channel. So where relevant, we actually incorporate those sort of videos into the different subject matter, but you would have also have seen those before within the module resources tab as well. It includes within the modules a number of examples, so you can work through those particular examples. And then there is also validation of that learning in each particular module as well. And Norman, I might get you to maybe just go to the next module as an example there, potentially. Maybe it goes to... I'm just thinking of a
yeah,
yep, in
I'll load that
contribution
up.
rules.
I'll answer one of the questions that came through. So Nia had a good question. She can't see the learning channel on her BGL program,
BGL.
and that's okay.
Yep.
So the online learning channel is free for all BGL users. If you can't see it on your app switcher, just log a support call with us. We might have to fix something up on our end, or it could be down to user permissions. So your firms have permission to be able to go into their user database and actually turn on or off for particular users, whether they have access to the learning channel. So that's something you can check with your admin user in for your BGL product, or you can log a support call with us and we'll be able to help you out there.
Yep. Excellent. Um, all right. So I might get you to go down to just to 2.3 there, if you wouldn't mind, on the left-hand side. And then under that, if we just go to just to continue, so you'll see all the materials there. There are some interactions that sit there with the mandated and voluntary contributions. So just sort of switching on the screen. But what I wanted to do is to show, if you go to continue now, if you wouldn't mind, we then have some validation in here within the module itself. So as you step through and understand the information that is being taught to you at this point in time, you can then go and validate your learning throughout the modules with interactions like you would see here. And so therefore, you can see that there's references in here to 12% SG. We did see sliding changes to that over recent times. But this sort of interaction, you have 1 out of 3 assessments, just to make sure you've got your head around many of the, I guess, the concepts that we've been talking about around how a contribution is made and the eligibility and so forth. And you'll see in that navigation on the left-hand side, there's one down further. You can see activity 2 there, and there'll be a number of other ones there that you'll be able to work through to, in essence, complete that particular module as well. Okay, so that's the way in which we have developed the learning in here. It allows for us to blend both the written materials in conjunction with a range of video and other interactions to ensure that you get the best outcome from that overall learning experience. And then once you have, in essence, worked through that module, you'll then have an obligation to complete that CPD assessment. And we have a pool of questions in there that you will need to work through and have an 80% pass mark. And then once you've gone through and completed both the module and that assessment, you then work your way into that next one until ultimately you've completed the course in its entirety. So I think they're most of the items that I wanted to cover off in there, Norman, because yeah, like I said, from our point of view, we did do a bit of a design change from those that may have seen our previous course content. We can very easily now populate additional requirements that need to come into these, and we can sort of move videos in and out as we see fit as well. So I would expect that, when we start to see more changes coming in, whether it's through announcements by the government or law changes and the like, people that work through these would be able to see the updates, be able to refer to the changelog as to what those updates might have been, potentially if they were halfway through a module, top themselves up, and then ultimately keep moving forward. So yeah, I don't know whether there's anything else you wanted to add into that whilst they're in here.
I
Maybe
think
just in
that's
terms of the
great.
assessment, how they might access that. But
Yep. At the end of each module will be the assessments. So you'll be able to see that there. And it'll go through about 10 questions and you've got an
yep,
80% pass mark there.
yep, yeah. So it just allows you to sort of work your way through. I assume that they get if they miss it the first time, they get a second attempt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You'll have a few, yeah, other attempts as well.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea is that whilst we recognize we would like you to get north of 80% first time every time, um, understanding concepts and stuff is really important. So we will give you that ability to go back and have another go. But we don't want to get to the point where you lock yourself out. So we do encourage, obviously, going back and working through some of those areas that need to be done before you actually sort of have another go at getting that module completed off. And then once you do successfully complete both the modules in their own right and then all of the assessments, that's when you will get the certificate basically issued to you from within the learning channel. And then from there, there's I guess, a sequence of being able to provide you with some information on the Smarter SMSF end to be able to get access to your complimentary period of membership with the SMSF Association, if you want to do so. Obviously, that's not a compulsory requirement, but certainly something that we've made available for people to be able to use. And I should say, we do get a very great large take up of that, typically when people have gone through that journey as well. So I think the question is, if I failed in the assessments, is it possible to be assessed again? So yes, the short answer will be yes, but we will reinforce, I think is probably the right word, Norman, that we'll reinforce the fact that you need to really go back and reassess the module. Quite clearly, we can see the granular detail of how people are working through those assessments and can provide some feedback on that as well. So yeah, it's not a free for all in terms of thinking that we can just sort of reset at any point in time. The reality is we need to ensure that you've spent the right amount of time through that. You're learning from the module work that you need to undertake, and then yeah, if we need to do some sort of reset on that, we would naturally make that available for people to do. So, anything else we need to talk about from there from Learning Channel point of view?
No, I think that's it for the Learn Channel. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I think I might go back to sharing my screen again. So just to wrap up a few things that we've seen in practice, because this again goes back to the putting some numbers and some information into the discussion we had before. So we know that a partner can spend significant amounts of time over a period of time to around that onboard training and support. So this can very quickly add up. Now, whether it's $60,000, $5,000, $20,000, the reality is a delivery of a course like this enables you to tap into the experience and knowledge that comes with people like myself and Tim, who are fellow SMSF specialists, get involved in obviously very detailed levels of consultation and stuff within the SMSF industry as well. So the role of the practitioner within that firm, the manager, the director, the partner, and whatever, really is to embrace a mentoring role to be able to help staff and then really see the acceleration that happens. And Norman, I was so pleased to hear that what Norm was talking about before, where staff in an inconsistent approach, sort of fumbling their way through over 2 months, now have some onboard experience that they can actually add value into their role within a couple of weeks. So that's the power of what utilizing these sort of courses can do, and it can be applied at a team member that has 2, 3, 4, 5 years of experience or more even, and we can even utilize those foundation courses and stuff for new staff or staff that might be you might have an offshore team member for the first time, or you're adding team members, whether they are onshore or offshore as well. So that case study is really there to highlight what that opportunity cost is and how that SMSF Essentials course can help re-navigate that as well. Now, at Smarter SMSF, I spoke about at the very beginning the fact that we have our Starter, Smarter, Smartest model of education, because doing the course content is really just one part of the journey. And we do run a range of regular training as part of our subscriptions that we have, both in a singular environment, so our CPD regular or CPD quarterly, where one person can in essence access for themselves, but we also have team-based subscriptions with our CPD business. So that could be that you're attending our quarterly technical updates, It may be with our regular and business subscriptions. You're also attending our masterclasses. So we have our Division 296 online masterclass that we're holding next week, for example. All of these webinars and events all then form part of our own CPD accreditation, and the fact that you can either attend those live or come into our learning management system via our Smarter SMSF platform to be able to access that as well. So there's a little bit more that you can find out, and we'll share those slides with you. So that's really a summary of the differences between both of those courses. Again, you can go onto the BGL website and find out a little bit more about those, and in particular, the course outline and that information that is available, including that complimentary period of membership that is also available with both of those courses and who it would be most suitable for. So for me, it's more than just about the fact that, our Essentials course, it was our sort of first foray into e-learning, and it was originally called the Foundations course. It got a bit of a complex over time, but we've really taken the time to map out our Starter, Smarter, Smartest model. It's not just about moving the needle from 18 hours to 25 hours. It really, as you could see from today, spent a lot of time really rebuilding what it looks like, how we can deliver valuable content that ensures team members can really hit the ground running when they come into an organization, or if they're already in an organization and really need to build up their skills to be able to ensure that they can get the work done that they need to get done as part of their actual job description. So the more that we can tap into that, we become better at what we do. You can leverage the expertise that we have at Smarter SMSF. And I think most importantly, to the third point in there, is that what we're trying to do is develop a pathway for you of education, of SMSF education. And if you've got a desire to move towards becoming a specialist in your own right, there is actually a pathway that we can actually help